Due to explicit content and language, listeners' discretion is advised. Black in Thought.
All right, let's get started. You may learn something.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Welcome to Black in Thought, where we take a look at current and cultural issues, applying that Afrocentric drip to them. Your hosts tonight are... We got the Professor, JB, D, and of course me, Ill Will. So tonight, it's a monumentous moment for us. In the industry of podcasts, they say to be serious about it, you have to make it past 7 episodes. Today is our 8th episode. So not only are we in there like swimwear, we are here. This is our 8th episode today. And so get used to it because we're not going anywhere. Tonight's topic is going to be one that draws a lot of attention. It's going to be Black Lives Matter versus All Lives Matter. And to start,
Is first and foremost an affirmation. There's a love note to ourselves, from us to us. It's a movement built on love.
We're a movement that is rooted in the principles of human rights, dignity, and respect.
It was founded by 3 Black women
Patrice Cullors, Elisa Garza, and Opal Tometi,
who fought relentlessly alongside thousands of other people who speak out against the unjust killings of Black men and women.
We all have to think about why African Americans, Blacks, are often left out and feel excluded based on the way our society functions and moves forward.
That although it seems like we only take to the streets and we march when Black men are murdered by the hands of police, this movement is actually standing for all Black people.
We are focusing on the issues of Black incarcerated folks, formerly incarcerated folks, Black folks who are documented and undocumented, who are working class, who are poor, who are unemployed, who are cisgendered and transgendered and gender nonconforming.
Black Lives Matter is about peace, it's about bringing people together, it's about fighting for justice, it's about solidarity, and it's about unity. Terror and love do not go hand in hand. And unequivocally, without a doubt, Black Lives Matter is a group of people that love each other and love even those who are not engaged in the movement. And so terror has no place among us.
America needs to know that the time is now for a change.
These are systems that are executing objectives and people, and that can't continue. Protesting and speaking out is one of the most American things you can do.
Pro-Black isn't synonymous with anti-white or anti-cop.
And if it hadn't been for the voices of those who dared to go against the grain, those who dared to be the difference, we may not be where we are today. Silence is complicity, and refusing to speak up, write about, or protest against the despicable treatment of Black lives in America essentially shows that you're on the side of the oppressor.
Why does society dictate that my life matters less than yours?
If I could tell the All Lives Matter crowd one thing, I would say to check your arguments.
really educate yourself about what Black Lives Matter means.
Do your research on housing segregation, racial disparities in income and education, and mass incarceration, and you'll realize why we need to say Black Lives Matter.
All lives won't matter until Black lives do.
and with that, I feel there's just a lot of misconceptions of what Black Lives Matter is. For most, it's, and I'm just put it straightforward. I mean, for most white individuals, it's a racist term. It's put out there like it's black supremacy over, any other race. It's just meaning. It's just that we understand all lives matter, but for all lives to matter, you have to give a damn about Black lives within that. And it's just too many times so often that, you see these unjust killings and things like that, and there's either little to no justice with some of them, with a lot of them. And it's like we're supposed to be complacent and complicit with the outcomes from those. And it's like, where is the outrage? Where is from everybody else if all lives matter, during these situations? Why aren't the all lives matter people upset when it's Black life seems like it didn't matter.
Yeah, I think one thing that came to my mind was the whole BET comment people used to have. It's like, well, what about white entertainment television? You got black entertainment television. And it's not that, people would say every television station is white entertainment television. But, it just brings to the point that there's nothing wrong with highlighting or drawing some attention to where a group of people are not being heard, or not being justly treated. So to bring that to light, I know some people use the example like, if a house is on fire, the fire trucks, they need to check out all these other houses first before the one that gets to the house on fire. No, the ones on fire needs the attention.
Yes.
Not all these other houses. This one needs the attention right now because it's on fire. So, yes, we understand that all these other houses need to be safe and shouldn't be burned down, but let's take care of this one right now in this present time. So, I think it's a major deflection with the All Lives Matter response, particularly, especially when they talk about, same with Blue Lives Matter. I think that's another deflection response to it, because that didn't come up until the Black Lives Matter started. But the All Lives Matter group never says anything when somebody mentions Blue Lives Matter. They don't say, no.
You're right.
Remember, it's All Lives Matter. They never say that. So you have to question, okay, what is really your focus? Why are you bringing this to the attention? And I think a lot of it has to do, again, it's the uncomfortable piece. People don't want to talk about race issues. They want to stay away from it. And it's a real easy cover to just say, well, all lives matter, so we don't got to talk about it.
And see, I heard something very interesting. I was listening to something today, and they said that, comparing the movement now to the Black Panther movement, Black power does not equal Black supremacy. It equals Black equality. And I mean, that just resonated with me. I mean, as soon as you hear someone, say Black Lives Matter, the opposite side is, oh, that's racist. Oh, you just care about, it's just only focused on Black people and it forgets about everyone else. No, that's not what it is. It's trying to bring attention to the situations and the matters at hand, which in right now, like Black lives. And the thing that I hate the most is you tell somebody Black Lives Matter, and then the first card they want to pull is, oh, well, shit, black on black crime.
Right, black on black crime. And, that to me is, crime is crime. It's done by criminals. So, there's white on white crime all the time too.
Exactly,
so,
and that's not a category.
So no one says we got all this white on white crime going on, because it's a lot more white on white crime going on than black on black crime.
Is.
But in aggregate, because obviously there's more white folks in this country, so no one talks about all the crazy white on white crime that goes on in this country.
I mean, it's only labeled as a derogatory thing towards Black people with black on black crime. Because, there's no white on white crime. There's no brown on brown crime. There's no red on red crime.
Right.
I mean, there's none of that. It's just always, something derogatory for Black folks with, oh, I got you now. What about that black on black crime?
And it seems as though it can't be validated in their minds that there's an issue with police brutality and how Black people are treated in those situations, unless no Black people kill Black people, and that's just ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the last example of that, it would be like the in Tulsa, Oklahoma. There was a guy who just recently shot 2 TPD police officers. So he was a white gentleman. Well, you guessed it. At the end of the day, when they did caught him, he was taken in alive.
So he shot 2 police officers?
Shot 2 police officers. One's dead right now, and then the other one's still in critical condition. But when they did find the guy, he still, I mean, they took him into custody. He wasn't shot. He wasn't beat up. He wasn't none of the above. He was taken into custody. And that's the unbalance that, you know, us as black folks, we see all the damn time. So if that same situation had happened to where a black guy killed, there'd have been some standoff, there'd have been something else, and you just heard about him being killed.
And you know what? Full transparency, I don't wish the guy got shot. You know, I want him to, you know, be taken into custody because that's the way it should be done. You know, however, when you see things like that, it just makes you wonder, man.
Why can't the black person be taken into custody?
Right. Just get taken into custody because that's the way it should be done. He's going to obviously either get the death penalty, be in jail for the rest of his life, and let the justice system take care of, you know, whatever his outcome's going to be. But, you know, most people don't get afforded that opportunity. that shooting a cop.
They don't. I mean, that's very rare.
Kill another cop.
Very rare.
They just don't get afforded that opportunity. So,
I mean, with that, it's just the whole perception of it. I mean, with it, it's never been said that it's only black lives that matter or black lives matter more.
Yeah, they matter more.
It's just that
they matter as well.
Yeah, as well. I mean, we just want our footing, our place in society to show that we're on equal playing ground just like everyone else. I mean, it's not that we need to be above anybody. It's not that we need to be in line before anybody, you know, that was already in line or something like that. Just our place next to everyone else.
I think that's the problem, is that they don't want us to be equal. And
Yeah.
they, you know, they get so fearful that, you know, we got this going on now, and like I said, the all lives matter, blue lives matter. Fear of us being equal.
You know, I'm reading this definition of humanity. Humanity is the human race, which includes everyone on earth. It's also a word for the qualities that make us human, such as the ability to love and have compassion, be creative, and not be a robot or an alien. So when we talk about Black Lives Matter versus All Lives Matter, we're essentially in a battle, humanity versus legislation, in a sense, right? Because we are trying to get and protect our civil rights when in fact we're not even viewed as humans, and we really are not getting our human rights, right? So we're asking for something. Essentially, we're like putting the cart before the horse, because they don't view us as humans. They view us as aliens, right? And we're asking for civil rights when we don't even have our human rights. So it's essentially mankind or humanity versus the Constitution. If you look at, for example, what you guys are talking about the individual who shot or killed an officer, Caucasian, correct?
Yep.
Had that been an African American, his body would have been riddled with bullets, and they probably would have still arrested him while he was dead and incarcerated him. This was sick shit. So
I don't think they would have done that.
Well, I mean,
I would say the procedure.
But hold on.
Cuffs have been put on the deceased
dead
brother.
Thank you.
That's sick. But see, that is the procedure
Right.
until someone actually pronounces them dead. We're not, as far as law enforcement, I'm just going to tell you, we're not medical professionals. We don't pretend to be medical professionals, but that is just the way it goes as far as procedure until the person.
Bruh, come on,
You
man.
arresting dead?
It's not. You don't know the person's dead.
Did you
I'm
read
just
him his
being real with
rights?
you. Well, you don't read them in rights until you question them. And so he's not answering any questions.
So I
watch Law and Order all the time. They go like this.
Law and Order
so
is full of shit.
So I have,
that is TV.
So I have a question.
It's like NCIS.
They say no pulse.
So I have a question. If he's wounded, what threat does he pose if he's wounded and unarmed to a police officer?
That's the problem is
He could be on PCP.
They either show parts of it, or they don't show, or they show what they want. Because what's supposed to happen, in which in all situations it has not happened, but okay, you're supposed to still handcuff the individual and still perform life-saving measures. That's what's supposed to happen. It's not supposed to be, I put handcuffs on this individual and then we stand here and watch him die or watch him as a dead person lay there. What you're actually supposed to do as far as procedures, is secure the person to make sure that nothing else can happen and perform life-saving measures. That is what's supposed to happen.
So let me ask. I know we're talking about all lives matter, but you know, the Blue Lives Matter piece. Just want to dive into that a little bit. So how do you all feel about that as it relates to all lives matter?
You got to be more. I guess. I mean, to me, at the end of the day, still, as a black officer, Black Lives Matter. As an officer.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get
Blue
some
Lives
perspective.
Matter.
I'm trying to get some perspective on when that came about. How did it? It seems like there's still there's friction there, obviously.
It came about just like how All Lives Matter came about. There was no difference. At the end of the day, yes, of course, for me in my position, it's a very tricky position because I believe in all three. Do I believe one's over the other? No, but I believe in all three because there was a period in time to where people were just killing cops just for the fun of it. Then of course, there's times that black folks are getting killed for no reason at all, and so I can't place one above the other, but I understand them all, and I know their place in life. So do I think Black Lives Matter? Hell yeah, I do. Then, like I said, in the instance where they were just going and killing cops for no reason, that could have been me any day. They ran up on a cop car and just started unloading on it.
Mm-hmm.
For no damn reason. That could be me sitting at Dollar General doing my report.
But we expect that from a criminal. We don't expect that from the cop. We don't expect that same behavior.
Cops don't really just run up on ambush on people and just do it like that. I haven't seen that one yet.
You haven't seen that?
Well, usually not without
Cops just run up on
somebody and just shoot.
Do you have access to the news?
Isn't that what happened in Kentucky?
Yeah.
In Kentucky?
Yeah.
There was
with the lady who was in her bedroom, or and her boyfriend was there, and he shot. They came in there, ran in there, guns blazing.
Yeah,
they
didn't announce themselves.
No, that did not quite. That's
okay.
not all the information.
What was the play-by-play?
What I know, yes, the address on the search warrant was wrong, and that's what I've read. I can't say that that's right or not because there's two different people saying something. There's some parts are saying that was the right address. And there are some parts saying that was the wrong address. Now, with the no-knock warrant, they ran in there, and if it was the wrong address, as like half of it was saying, did that. People in the house, of course, shot back. And, I'm going to just be real with you. If you think you're going to shoot and somebody else is not going to shoot back, that's a dream world. I'm sorry. It's a dream world. So, but does that make them right for shooting back because someone in their home was defending their castle? No. With that being the wrong house that they were serving on. But whether you believe it or not, there was a process there. It wasn't just I ran and ambushed this house for no damn reason. I'm talking about people ran up on a cop car. This happened in New York and a couple other places and just murked the dude.
I heard that in a minute, murk.
You damn right.
Old school.
And that's what I'm talking about. I'm not saying that the discount to where they're saying that I'm not. It's not a discount saying by no means that black folks have been unjustly killed, but I'm just saying that there's been situations to where people just retaliated just to retaliate because of a situation, and there's been a couple cops died. I just say for me, that is the fear for me that I have to watch my back. I don't have to just necessarily watch my back because I'm black. That's one part of it. Then I also have to watch my back because I'm a police officer as well. So not only am I, being so situational aware for just being black, being situational aware for being a cop. And then you add the third piece on there, I'm being situational aware for being a black cop.
Yeah. Yeah.
We talk Black Lives Matter, All Lives Matter. I'm thinking about when President Obama got elected. I know a couple episodes ago we were talking about Rodney King when he was beaten in L.A. I'm sorry. Yeah, I think it was L.A. Mm-hmm. And after that, there was a long amount of time, a stretch of time, where you didn't see what was going on now. It wasn't until President Obama was elected when you begin seeing this police brutality towards African Americans. Now, last week we talked about Willie Lynch. Now, according to history, black lives only matter when we're in bondage. Only matter when we're in bondage. That's the Willie Lynch Chronicle. He says that if you can keep his spirit broken and his body going, he's an asset. His life matters. But when we're awake and we're exposed, we can overcome oppression. For example, our first black president of the United States, then we pose ourselves as a threat. That's when our lives don't matter, and that's when all lives matter, because again, we always start behind the starting line. And when President Obama became president, it showed the entire world that we were able to take over the United States, right? Even with oppression, even with slavery, even with everything that's going on. So black lives do matter when we're in bondage, in accordance to when we were in slavery and Willie Lynch. This is his words. But all lives matter when we begin to rise above oppression.
Yeah, I think that you hit on a couple things there, Professor. It's not a coincidence that a lot of the racial tension in the country has become a little bit more agitated than it has been in a few decades because of the election of Barack Obama. And in response to that, the election of Trump. So those dynamics that are going on have definitely ignited some more friction in race relations in the country. And I think that this is in response to that by some people who feel some type of way about where their place is in the country somehow is being taken away from them. And that's what I keep preaching on about this uncomfortable piece, is that it's uneasy because what traditionally their footing has been in the country is starting to shift and move, and they're not, and it's unsettling to them. You know,
it essentially debunked the myth of the perception that the white community puts out there about us. A black man, a black woman, a black family, highly educated, law-abiding citizens, successful, right? That's a threat to the United States, right? So again, after his election, it wasn't until after his election you begin seeing this. So when the myth is debunked and they say, wait a minute, African Americans and blacks do have the potential to become president. And that means if they do have the potential to be the leader of the free world, they have the potential to rule it, right? So great point, JB. You get Trump in office, a totally different dynamic. Now we got to put the brakes on this.
Right.
Because it threatens our way of life, which is the all lives matter.
Right.
But until then, before then, when the black lives mattered, it was all about us being in bondage. So great point about that. You're right. Two different dynamics.
I mean, it's true. I mean, you know, all lives didn't matter until Black Lives Matter came about. And then with that, it's like both of you said, JB and D, I mean, it's deflecting.
Yeah, it's a total deflection game.
I mean, it's just like, just like the deflection, just like black crime. I mean, because, it pisses me off every time I hear this, like, oh, got you now, motherfucker, black crime.
Right.
I mean, like they're pulling out their back pocket, like, got you now, motherfucker.
So check this out. I don't know if you guys noticed this, but the entire time President Obama was elected, or he was president, first, where's he from?
Chicago.
How often did you see Chicago crime being reported nationally?
Oh, it went down when he was president.
It's
being reported wise.
This is where he's from. Mm-hmm. It was reported over California, and California is much larger. New York's much larger than Chicago.
Yeah. Now, no doubt.
Reported
no doubt
frequently
that Chicago has some issues, but every other inner city has issues, and it's not just because of people being black. It's an economic
Master
deal.
P said, "Your ghetto ain't no harder than mine."
That's true.
It's an economic deal,
and they don't tell you about the cartels in California that are murdering up everything in South
Texas too,
and Texas murdering up everything in Southern California.
Right.
They don't tell you about that, right? And those murders, yeah, and those murders far exceed the ones in Chicago.
Yeah. So it's. And again, we can go on another topic about media and all that stuff, but
that's part of this. I mean, to tell you the truth.
but it's what people want, what they want to feed you, and what you're willing to consume. So, and honestly, that's why it's tough for me to really watch the news, because it's so negative, man. It's so negative, negative.
That is exactly. I mean, the whole train of the media. I mean, instead of showing you any of the positive things about what's been going on within the protests and things like that, any of the good works that, the foundation and the organization has been putting forth and all the resources that they've been putting into the community, they want to show you when some looting happens, oh, this is Black Lives Matter who's tearing up this shit. When that's just some rogue dude doing some dumb shit on his own,
and
tearing up
and a lot of times, and we can get into it, later on about the movement and how in the the makeup of the group and everything else, but it's particularly troubling when I forgot what I was gonna say.
One thing that I guess I reflect back on, and it popped in my mind. I don't know why it popped now, but I mean, it still kind of relates. When we was talking about the Karens, we missed the ultimate Karen within this the Emmett Till incident.
Yeah, that's true.
That was the ultimate. And back then, of course, Black lives didn't mean anything back then. I mean, just to say to kill that young man over what they thought happened, but it's just that the
I got it back. Don't need.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Yeah. I remember what I was gonna say. So we're talking about the news and what's reported, and it ties what you were saying about with the black on black crime. The people who say that really don't know what's going on in communities that are experiencing a lot of violence. They don't know how the community's reacting to that, how they're pulling together, how they're trying to reach out, stop violence, have community gatherings, community activism in that regard to stop the violence, get the drugs off the street. All those things go on, but that's not on the news side.
It's not. They want to show you all the gloom and doom.
They'll show you somebody getting killed, but they don't show you the response to that murder in that community and what people are doing after that in response to it. So I wish that when people would say, well, what about black on black crime? It's like, you know what? You're right. Here's what these people are doing. Did you look at this? Not that we should be forced to educate or take that burden on in that argument, but it would be good if that would be something that they would dig into, but they really don't want to.
It's not newsworthy enough for me. It's not going to garner ratings. It's not going to get people to come in. When you show people the actual facts of what's going on, the people who are against the actual facts, I mean, they're not going to want to pay attention to that. I mean, because if you actually truly put up the numbers, I mean, black on black crime versus just to say white on white crime, because you have way more completely white areas to where they're committing crimes against each other and stuff like that. That, I mean, it's never going to get reported. To me, I mean, that is just the worst thing that they ever came up with was black on black crime. I mean, if you weren't going to have, if you weren't going to categorize everyone else, why only put us in the negative light by creating black on black?
It goes back to what the professor was talking about on well, I guess it's just been your platform, brother, but the fear, stoking fear into the minds of white America about what black people do. They're violent individuals. They had this black on black crime. They're drug addicts. So you need to keep them away from your neighborhoods. Keep them out because they're killing each other. When the reality is, there's more white people killing white folks every day. There's more white people that are hooked on drugs in this country right now.
More white people on welfare.
More white people on welfare. But that's not discussed.
It's not.
So it's again, it's what you're willing to consume
and
from the media.
Like JB said, it's economical. When you look at the neighborhoods of, in my opinion, it's like you're fighting with your brother and sister. If you're in the same house and your siblings fight, you live in the same neighborhood, you fight with each other, whether you're black, white, Asian, Latino. But ours is just, like you said, it's highlighted more.
I'm looking at this this historical value of a slave. And when we talk about Black Lives Matter, all lives matter, how this stuff has got out of hand, the value of a slave back in 1860 was approximately $40,000. Now, of course, back then he cost about $1,200 to $1,100, but that particular slave being sold at $1,100 or $1,200 made his master $40,000 or $50,000 in a short amount of time picking cotton, right? So again, The slave couldn't read. He wasn't educated. He was displaced. He had nowhere to go. He had to do it. So now we're educated. We have options. We have businesses. Truly, we can be independent of the government if we really, really wanted to. We can vote. So we have a lot more power. We have a lot more authority or power than we had before. So it's more important now to knock us off rather than to keep us than it was before, because we have a lot more options. We're a lot more educated. And if they don't keep us in line, guess what? Like we're doing now, we're talking about all these black businesses on Facebook and on the internet. If we pull our resources together, we can destroy the American economy without China having to do it.
I mean, I don't know if you know, most of you knew, July 1st through the 7th was Blackout Week. So what that was, you know, I have mixed emotions about what some people were saying to do. Some people were saying don't spend any money at all if you can, but then, you know, other people were saying make sure that you spend, you know, if you spend money, spend it with the black dollar. In which, you know, spending it with the black dollar, I prefer to do that than not to spend anything at all. But it just showed like how the Dow Jones average went down that week because people weren't spending with these big publicly traded companies. And so, you know, you're spending with all these local black businesses and things like that. Of course, that aren't publicly traded and things like that. I mean, the Dow took a hit that week because people weren't spending at these big box places.
So you made mention of how the Dow dipped, right? Mm-hmm. And we're only 8%. Black minorities are only 8% of the U.S.
Well, it's more than, it's like 13, but you're talking about for businesses.
It's 50, right, for businesses. You're right, 13%. I stand corrected, 13%. And we were able to make that type of impact on the stock market. That's power.
Power.
Yeah, I think that people don't realize, like I said earlier, what you're willing to consume. I mean, it's as consumers, you pick the winners and losers. You know, I don't advocate that you should hold on to your money, but I think that use money, it's a tool for you, and you can also make a statement with your money too, because you can pick and choose who you want to do business with.
Yep.
And the business community is going to respond. So, case in point, even, you know, we're talking about a little bit the Washington Redskins. Oh, you know, yeah. Looking at like now again, this may be another topic for another day about things that we really had nothing to do with.
We didn't ask for, but y'all just want to give us some shit that don't even relate.
Right, it has nothing to do. However, fine, you want to change the name, whatever. I'm not gonna lose sleep over it. But the response to that from the minority owners of the team, FedEx, you know, and its partnership with the team, you know, Nike, you know, not selling anything that had Redskins on it. So all these people, in response to that, money talks.
It does.
So
no shit walks.
So now all of a sudden, because the money got hit, you know, just like you said, you know, and we going back to some of our previous episode, what was that with the protesting versus rioting? The third one is money. Okay,
this place these motherfuckers money and they get mad.
Right. So you talk about protesting, yeah, rioting, yeah. Fuck with the money, things gonna change. Okay, that's the quickest way to change.
Money.
In the pocket, man.
Right. So, but yeah, that was interesting to see about the Dow.
Yeah, I mean, it was just it amazed me how much it went down. I mean, just during that week for Blackout Week. I mean, that just shows you the buying power of the black person. I mean, from Black Wall Street, I mean, it showed, you know, how we can thrive and we can control things, we can run things and stuff like that. But unfortunately, they don't want us to, so then they do shit like that to, you know, eradicate that stuff.
And you know what's funny when you talk about Black Wall Street? It's not as though people who started Black Wall Street or even people that have black businesses don't want to be part of the larger market or they want to be engaged in the market at large. They were just being pushed out.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was a response of being pushed out. It wasn't that they just said, you know what, we just going to do our own thing, boom, boom, y'all do you. No, it was y'all going to do your own thing, y'all stay in your place, over here, away. So it's not that black, and this is kind of ties to the whole Black Lives Matter. No one's saying that black lives are superior.
No one. Mm-mm.
No one's saying that. But they just matter just as much as everyone else.
On that line of equality.
And until the humanity piece that you talk about, Professor, is realized, it's always going to be an issue. There's always going to be a rub there until society has that humanity aspect of black lives.
Well, I agree with what JB is saying to an extent. However, I do believe that the African American race is superior, because
I wouldn't say that, dude.
No other race has encountered what we've encountered, but yet overcome what we've overcome.
So we're tougher.
I wouldn't say we're superior.
We're tougher.
I wouldn't say you're superior. It's the same breath as when it's because of it's what you've been put through. So I'll equate it to sports. The kids that come from tough situations and they look at sports as the only way out. They play with a certain edge that some suburban kids or more privileged kids don't have to have that edge.
They feel they can just walk on the team compared to you putting in the hard work.
Right. Well, that's your only way. So it's not to say that they're superior athletes to the kids that are have more privilege and however, they've been put in a situation where they had to been put in the pressure cooker to respond.
So like how you say, Professor, we put in the motherfucking work. When we put our mind to whatever we want to do, we take that shit to 100, from 0 to 100.
It's natural,
real quick.
Just like the movie Trading Places with Dan Aykroyd.
Yeah, man, that was a great movie.
That was a perfect example when the guy said Mortimer, they were brothers. He said this guy comes from Yale. He was groomed to be successful.
Right.
The guy said, he said, well, this guy has a natural ability.
He doesn't.
He's instinctive.
No.
It doesn't matter what you put him in, he will succeed. They bet $1 on that man's life.
Yep.
Guess what? They took his credit cards away, Dan Aykroyd. They took his luxuries away.
Took his butler.
He started popping pills and drinking.
Right.
He was ready to smoke crack.
Right. Living with a prostitute.
Guess what? Eddie Murphy said, you know what?
Whores.
He said, wait a minute. He looked at the books. He said, so all I got to do is sell orange juice and pigs.
Right.
He said, wait a minute. He said, hold on. So he looked at the books. He said, okay, we're going to make this move. And he was making them so much money, yet he was not educated.
Had no experience.
No exposure.
Right. And
But
obviously this movie was a comedy, but it speaks to the point.
It spoke very loud.
It speaks to the point.
So the one brother said, listen, I told you, I will take a person who has instinct over a person who has education and who's been groomed. That does not determine success, right? So that movie was a great example of what we're talking about today as far as how we are able to overcome, right?
Oh, yeah.
We've been through worse than any race known to man, but yet we dominate everything that you give us. It could be any sport. It could be entertainment. Our comedy is off the hook. In sports, our fashion is, listen.
All right.
What's my man's name? Who got the contract with Gucci? I can't think of his name.
Oh, I know you're talking about the black guy.
The brother from Chicago.
Yes, I know you're talking. I can't think of his name. I can see his face, but I can't think of his name.
Came out. He's coined the yellow color for Gucci, right? And he was doing all that work back in New York during the drug epidemic and the heroin, all that kind of stuff. And he was making the Louis Vuitton shoes and stuff. And they tried to run him up out of New York, so he went to Chicago. And Gucci said, "Listen, we love what you do," because there was a time where Gucci only catered to the white community.
Dapper Dan.
Right? Dapper Dan took it and put it on steroids. He took it and put it on steroids, right?
Gucci.
It was because of Dapper Dan, Gucci's stock went up. It wasn't the people in the suburbs that was buying it. It was niggas in the hood.
Yeah, it's us.
Yeah, buying the Louis Vuitton and the MCM coats, just doing it big. So, like we talked about a couple weeks ago, you give blacks something and we cultivate it. We make it much more than what it's worth, right?
Yeah, that's what chitlins and
listen, I love chitlins.
Right,
I love chitlins.
I mean,
man.
I got neck bones for tomorrow.
I mean, it makes it
Hormones.
like, with Tommy Hilfiger. When Tommy Hilfiger came out,
he said,
black folks.
Yeah, this
was
isn't
buying
for
the
for you.
hell out
This
of that.
is not for black.
Every
people.
black person, had Tommy Hilfiger, but I mean,
I still got it.
And then, he
stopped.
came out and said what he said. I mean, it drastically.
killed him.
He went from going to the higher boutique stores to selling at Kohl's.
Yep.
I mean,
Yep, you're right.
and that
You're right,
just shows the power of the influence that we have on things. I mean, because at the end of the day, I mean, I this is just my opinion. When we get dressed, we get fucking dressed. I mean, we
Sharper than attack.
We do, man.
And then, hey, y'all niggas be knowing it. Y'all act different, neck gets different shit.
Shoulders like this.
Shoulders all tight,
Chest
shit.
out.
You ain't giving nobody no eye contact. You think you the shit.
Who the fuck you looking at?
But black folks, man, we just done had it so hard, and we can laugh about it. It's funny how we can just laugh about it. Been through some shit and you just laugh about it. We just have a natural resilience, man. And I'm gonna tell you something. There's no other race greater than us. There's no other race greater than us.
Well,
Simply put.
I wouldn't go. Listen, brother. I'm not saying that that any race is more superior than the other. However, like I said,
we know how to handle business.
we are extremely resilient, and obviously the things that we've been put through as a people, we had no choice but to come through,
but to thrive,
so, but to survive.
Let me put this out here then. While I was looking, trying to do my research and at least sound somewhat educated while I'm out here talking to you motherfuckers.
Oh, you did some research?
Some research.
Said I read a book.
I was looking up stuff, and I'm on YouTube. I'm looking for videos, and it just so happened I put in the search bar, Black Lives Matter versus All Lives Matter.
Oh, okay.
And then when I did that, I was really shocked. When I don't know if this was just YouTube's algorithm for pointing, what videos pop up from what I search for, or it's just that more of these people were the ones making videos.
Who is these?
A lot of white people making
really?
videos saying, "Hey, Black Lives Matter, and this is why you should feel Black Lives Matter." When I was looking through these videos,
so they're saying that they're in trying to educate other white folks on why this is like,
why this is a very important.
Look, dude, this is not.
Come on, Ken. Shit.
This is not.
Come on, Ken.
Black superiority, but this is there's some real shit that's going on that needs to be addressed.
Yeah, I mean, I was shocked that I seen more videos of white folks saying, "Hey, this is not what Black Lives Matter mean. It does not mean it's over the white folks. They mean more. It means this, that their lives should matter and all lives can't matter until Black Lives Matter." I mean, I would say I was truly shocked to see.
Right.
That.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I tell you, man, you're right. Will, I'm around the city, all day working and doing things like that, and I'm in a lot of affluent neighborhoods. I'm talking from low middle class to millions of dollars. They all, a lot of them feel that way. I have never seen so many signs of Black Lives Matters
all over the place
in neighborhoods I would never thought would be there.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe something good is coming out of this.
I hate that it took the death of George Floyd to get there.
Yes.
But I mean, I think you're right. I mean, I've seen just driving around the city and just so many Black Lives Matter, and I'm like, damn, all right, I see.
I'm actually feeling it. Like when I be working, I'm near, and the old white couple walking by now, it's like an intentional, "Hey, how you doing?" It's more intentional now. So.
Yeah, it is good. One thing that I think we need to keep in mind, though, is that when you talk about this pressure cooker, I don't think that it's, we haven't gotten any real change yet.
No,
you know what I'm saying? So it's
the
not,
change that they're giving us ain't really changed.
It's not really changed. So until some of this police reform starts taking place, and some of the I'm still tripping on the fact that you can become a police officer in like 6 months or something like
You
that.
can become a forklift driver in 1 day, so shit. I mean, what's the difference?
Well,
I mean,
listen,
I get
listen,
it. You know,
you're carrying a firearm, man. You ain't carrying no fork.
But you know
you
what?
can still kill somebody with a forklift. Correct.
For you to carry a firearm open carry in the state that we stay in, you don't have to have no training. So you can go out any day with open carry and kill someone.
Yeah.
Or
but in your profession,
hold on. But or to be even like to conceal carry, you go through an 8-hour course. I mean, so I get what you're saying, but I mean to the degree of training that you say, okay, it's only like it keeps going up. So like right now it's about 8 months. Yes, I mean I get you say 8 months, but at the end of the day, it's not that training. It is the person. So if you have it that in you that if you are a scary ass individual, you don't need to be on the fucking force. If you ain't never been to the hood,
but I feel like
you can't train. You can't train that out of somebody.
But check this out.
No matter 2 years, 3 years, or whatever.
If you could get a doctorate degree in 8 months, it'd be a lot of fucked up doctors. But it takes time and it takes energy and it takes commitment and discipline to become a doctor.
You can't train that out of nobody, though.
Listen, if you are willing to put that time in to become a police officer and go through that training and all that's involved in that, that's weeding out a bunch of people who would otherwise say, you know what, man?
You say that, but I don't think it's so because there's several states, and this is why I say that. There's several states that say you have to have a bachelor's degree to be a police officer. There's several states that say you have to have this much education.
Fuck
and
a
this
bachelor's
much
degree. How about a conscience?
But that's just led to what I said. If you are a scary individual that there's been situations to where I've talked to other officers around the area that I've lived in that has never been around black people before. And so, with that, hey, if you've never talked or had a conversation with a black person before,
Dude, I think that's part of training, though, man.
No, that's not part of training. How's that part of training?
Listen,
hold on, let me finish.
Okay,
let me finish. This may not be the job for you if you've never been around other ethnicities to be able to deal with them. If your first encounter with a black person is you encountering them in a situation to where they're possibly committing a crime or something like that, you've prejudged every black person from that point on. So with that, no matter if you have 10 years of training or whatever, it's not about the training, it's about the individual. You can get your doctorate degree and be a fucked up doctor. I mean there's plenty of cases out there, like the dude at one of the local hospitals here who was killing folks off,
yeah.
So that you can be a fucked up doctor, so it don't really matter about how many years. It's the individual, and that's what we need to find a better way to weed out these individuals.
I think you do that through a training program. That's what I'm saying.
You can't train that out of somebody. You can't.
What? No. What I'm saying, Will, is that in a training program, you go through assessments, you go through tests, you go through situations that you had to go through. Like he talked about being in the situation where you've been around people of color. Okay, have a program that helps people understand that be in communities of color before they get a gun, before they get a badge. Put them in situations like that. Put them in situations to understand and learn about the communities that they're going to be a part of. That's part of the training, is what I'm saying. So if you're willing to put in all of these efforts and work to become a police officer, and it may take a couple years, it may take a few years to do it, but within that training, with all the education, all of that stuff can get flushed out. That's what I'm saying. We can agree or disagree, but I
think if a person is actually going to be that way, it's been ingrained in them since they were a kid. There's no changing some of that stuff. I mean, it all depends on their upbringing, and if they were able to, if it was not so great upbringing, they were able to rise against that, or if they played along with it. Because at the end of the day, I could take I just put it out there. I could take any white boy off the street or whatever like that who's never been around black folks. I can take him to go hang out with me all day long in the hood and everything else like that. That don't mean he's going to be able to adjust and be able to do those same things, because I took him, basically I mentored him, taking him just hanging out in the grimier places. We go there 5 days a week. That don't mean he's going to adjust no matter what test. If he's book smart, he can get past that test. But I mean, at the end of the day, a test is how smart you are.
But you got to be able to assess. You got to be able to assess these individuals somehow.
That's what I'm saying. There needs to be a better way to assess that. I mean, training will only get you so far.
Maybe when I say training, maybe when I say training, I'm not necessarily saying this is how you apprehend a suspect. I'm not talking, you know what I mean? I'm talking about a program that they go through to make sure that you flush out the weak links, the people that aren't.
I mean, you would be surprised maybe, and you may not, but I can show you some brothers that's on the force that's just as bad as some of these, these white folks. I mean, when it comes to, discriminating, I mean, automatically the black person is in the wrong and stuff like that. I mean, they're out there.
Tough.
I mean, they're out there. I mean, it is what it is when I say that. It's just that it's like Dee said, there has to be a better way to be able to come up with some type of assessment, some type of psychological thing that weeds that out. Because, I mean, you can test your way out of a lot of stuff. And at the end of the day, it's your character. Your
I think
personality,
we're
morals,
saying the
your
same
ethics.
thing to some degree, training, testing, assessments, or whatever. But the bottom line is that there has to be something that these individuals go through to flush all that stuff out.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen some scary ass individuals, and I'm telling you, hey, dude, you gotta get the fuck away from me. I can't go in. You ain't getting me killed. It's just not happening. It's just not.
You know what? Another point when we're talking about Black Lives Matter versus All Lives Matter, I think that the white man pays close attention to the census, and if you look at the census over the past 30 years, there has been a steep, there has been a spike in interracial relationships. I'm going to go back to 1980. 25% of your interracial relationships were Asian and white. 18% of those were Hispanic and white, and they consider those girls exotic. The white boys like the exotic women. Over the last 30 years, that has shifted to where 20% of interracial relationships.
You sound like 50 Cent and Lil Wayne.
Exotic.
Yeah, exotic. 20% of interracial relationships currently are black and white. The white man knows that he's growing extinct, right? So he sends an indirect message to his white woman by killing off black men to install fear. So it's much greater than just what we see on the surface. The white man knows that he's losing his footing in America. Every day, every moment, every year, every month, if you go out to the malls, you see more and more black and white couples. The white woman has an affection
with the black man.
With the black man, right? And I'm gonna tell you why.
I know why.
Because he dressed so clean.
It's like Arby's. We have the meats.
Go ahead, Professor. Finish your point.
I want to make a disclaimer, honey. I did not say that. No participated in that. So I'm gonna leave that at that.
Right. Back to the point.
But the thing about the white woman that makes her different than the black woman is that she is partners with the oppressor. So she's able to see firsthand the oppressor oppress,
the behind the scenes
and
stuff.
the black man become resilient. And in her mind, she's saying, damn,
that's sexy.
That's sexy as hell. You've done everything in your power to make this man fail, but yet he still
thrives.
He still
Strong.
thrives, right?
Still I survive.
So
Still
in
I
her,
thrive.
so she understands the nature better than the sister, because the sister sees us, but she doesn't see the oppressor. So when we come home and say, hey, I had a bad day, I'm stressed out, I don't want to hear this. Oh, nigga, there you go again. You can't take out, you just can't take any stress or any pressure, right? She doesn't see it like the white woman sees it. So she's naturally attracted to it because she gets a firsthand glimpse of the oppressor doing the oppressing, and we overcome it. She's intrigued by it. She's smitten by it. Like,
that's
damn,
a very good analogy.
They put chains on this nigga's ankles, but he can still run the 100 meters in 2 minutes. You know what I'm saying? And they love it. They love it. We all love the hero, right? We love to see the guy overcome in the movie. We love to see it, right?
That's an interesting take that you took on that, Professor.
Yeah, I like that.
I had to say,
I like that.
It was a little different, and I can.
The white man's
see,
extinct.
I can see. Well, relative to what you were saying about white women and black men, that's something that I never really looked at it like that. So that's kind of interesting what you said. But on the other side of that, I do think that, if you play this thing out another 60, 80 years, everybody's going to be brown. You know what I mean? Not everybody, but you know what I'm saying. It's gonna be
a majority.
It's gonna be the majority of the people are gonna be brown, either Hispanic, black, black and Asian, black and white, Hispanic and white. So it's there's gonna be a lot of brown looking people, and I can feel that there is some resistance to that when in this country.
I just want to say for the record that I think our black women are exotic. I mean,
no doubt.
I mean, whew,
I'm addicted.
it's amazing.
Yeah,
I'm hooked, especially on mine. But when you look at back in the 1960s and 70s, when they portray the look of success, you always see the white guy in the Brooks Brothers clothes and the suit with the briefcase working on Wall Street. Now you see a nigga in an Armani suit with some gaiters and a lack or a Benz. You know what I'm saying?
Beating down the block, knocking pictures off the wall.
And they like, oh my God, who is this?
Or now the way it is,
you know what I'm saying?
You may see a nigga some gym shorts, some Jordans.
Call it a day.
Nigga still successful.
Call it a day.
Very successful.
Right. Call it a day.
Care.
But we bring a different element. We bring something different. We bring something fresh to it. Again, you give us a canvas, man, and we're gonna paint it. We're gonna Dapper Dan it, no matter what it is. We're gonna take it to the next level, and that's what we do. And the white woman, they have this.
Here, I'll say this just because it just triggered when you were talking about that about white women and black men. Some of it too, I think, has to do with some rebelliousness with their fathers too. I think that as a natural inclination for kids, children anyway, and especially daughters, from their fathers want to rebel. That's a big time rebellion against their father. So I think that's part of another dynamic of it too.
Oh, absolutely. I'm gonna give you some black grandkids. I'm gonna kill your legacy. I have there's a woman who works for me, and she says something that really fucked me up. I mean, no.
Who is this again?
A woman who works for me. I'm gonna tell you what she. I'm gonna tell you what she said. No. Listen to this. And
go ahead, Professor.
And I gotta
stay on task.
I got a straight face with this.
Who works for you?
She told me this the other night. She said, my father said this to me, that to ensure that you always have a white companion, I'm going to give you a white dog. So if your white companion ever dies, you have a white dog. I was fucking speechless.
Damn.
What does that even mean?
I mean, I'm gonna get you a white dog to go with you. Really?
Let it go.
I don't get that. I mean, that's
how
taking it to another
that's
level.
how deep that shit runs.
It
right?
is.
To make sure that you stay within your own. If anything happens to your husband, then this dog will take place of your spouse.
You can look
and
at
he's
this
white.
white dog.
And tell that motherfucker what you need.
I'm talking about smoke bestiality.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's how deep it is, man. It's deep.
Yeah. So
the white man will try to protect his legacy by all means.
I mean, and that just goes to show, we taking it back. I mean, it shows why they deflect when, as soon as you say Black Lives Matter, well, no, all lives matter. Well, like we keep saying, all lives won't matter till you can show us that Black Lives Matter. When you show us that, we mean something in the community just as much as you do, we're playing on an equal playing field, we're all equal out here, that's when all lives can matter. When it matters, yes, I will say the last incident, of course, with George Floyd has sparked tremendous amount of awareness to the situation. But there's, like you said, JB, where is the fucking change?
Yeah, there has to be some change. So, I mean,
you can tear down all the statues that you want. We're not asking for that.
Yeah,
you can play the national
nobody
anthems.
was asking for some statues to be torn down.
But then again, we can't ask for civil rights when we don't even have human rights, and we have to start there. So.
Yeah, it is a humanity issue. It's a human life issue, and I think that's really what it's about, is being recognized as being a human being. Just as you are. So we are human.
Yeah.
So.
It just baffles me as my mind when it comes to, like I said, the deflection. I mean, you're so focused on fighting against the human rights of another, race, that I mean, it's not even explainable. I mean, you're willing to protest and fight against the equality of another human race just to show all lives matter.
Well, look at it. The white man can't even keep his office. He can't keep his position on the football team. He can't keep his position on the baseball or basketball team. Now he's losing his position with his woman, his most valued prize. And trust me, them white boys, them white girls love niggas. They love it.
And on that note, to leave you black in thought, when it comes to Black Lives Matter, we are not saying that Black Lives matter more than any other race. We are not saying we are to be put first than anyone else. We are not saying that we are superior. We are saying that we just want to be equal. We want to be on the same playing field as everyone else. We just want to be able to have a shot at everything else as far as this American dream everyone talks about, just the same as everyone else. So to those who say Black Lives Matter is racist, I say to you, how about you dig deep into it? Don't let the media play the ultimate mind game on you and show you that Black Lives Matter is racist. All these things that you see when you see people tearing up stuff and things like that and social media and everything like that wants to portray that, oh, Black Lives Matter is tearing this up. That's not Black Lives Matter. That's not what the organization stands for. That is the media trying to put a spin on it. So I ask that you give that consideration when it comes to that. And on that note,
DJ Payne 1.
You know I'm flawed, but you love me anyway. A lot of times I'm so wrong, but you love me anyway. Love me anyway. That's why you're my buddy.
thank you for listening to this episode, and we want you to come back for more. If you like what you heard, please subscribe wherever you get your podcasts from. We're on all the major networks: Apple, Google, TuneIn, Spotify, and many more. Check out our social media, and please like, follow, and comment on Facebook, Black in Thought, Instagram, Black in Thought Podcast, and Twitter, Black in Thought Podcast. Please subscribe, share, and once again, thank you for listening.
You know I'm flawed, but you love me